It's just one of those kind of weeks. This is my absolute favorite kind of watering day. It is overcast. It was supposed to rain today, which is why I put off watering. Well, I always put off watering until about 7 or 8 when it's so sunny out, but it's overcast, so I could have watered earlier. But I put it off because it was supposed to rain. But I don't mind, because this is the best kind of day to be in the garden, the best time of day to be in the garden. And I'm just out here spending some time. I'll show you a few of the plants that are growing. It's not really a full tour because it's just not one of those kind of weeks. It's just, yeah, you'll see. So I'm just gonna put some clips together of things that I've noticed or seen this week. They may be from a couple of places around the farm, homestead, whatever we're calling this place, but mostly here in the garden. So, oh yeah, I'm Amy. Welcome back to Hummingbird Hill, and I hope you enjoy. I think that's what you might call an asparagus tree with a Harley cat underneath it. But if you notice, right now, this little asparagus starts here and goes all the way up until it is taller than my head. I think that's a pretty substantial fern. It's going to block the sun from my tomatoes if it ferns out totally. So I don't know how long it'll last, but I thought that's very interesting, and I'm gonna let it stay there until it gets too full, because it's good for the asparagus, because this is only their second year. So I did like I was supposed to. I picked a couple stalks just for a little bit, and then I let them go to fern, and this one was apparently serious about the ferning. Whew! That moment when you go to kick a weed out of the ground because it is growing on top of your ground cover, and instead what you kick out is a rogue radish. Oh my gosh, I cannot even believe this is growing right down here next to these weeds that need to go. But now I'm wondering, I bet these are radish as well. I must have scattered some seeds and they decided to grow. Actually, even better than the ones in the bed over here are growing. Yeah, so my first radish from the garden. I kicked it up out of my bark dust. There you go. It's just kind of one of those days in the garden. Yes! The garlic scapes are actually scaping. I was worried about this hardnut garlic because I hadn't seen the scapes yet, and these just appeared yesterday in full force. They probably were here before, but not fully scapish. But this is the first time I'm going to pick the scapes and actually cook them, because that'll let the bulbs go ahead and bulb up. Now something here has crushed 2 of these necks, 3 of these necks of garlic, and so I was a little worried about the garlic as a whole over here, whether it's going to actually bulb up, but we shall see. I did give it some fertilizer yesterday just to kind of give it a little kick in the butt. I shouldn't need to necessarily with no dig beds and the mulch on top that I used over winter, but you know that I made that mistake with putting excess drainage in the beds, so I thought maybe that would help a little bit until I get things all right. So there you go. The artichoke, as always, is kind of going crazy. As you can see, it is about, I would say 3.5, almost 4 feet tall. And this one's about to turn into a flower if I let it. And I might let it because, frankly, I don't like artichokes. I mean, I like them okay, but they're not my favorite. They're not my go-to. They're not something I super much enjoy. Did I just say super much? I did. And I stick by it. This was actually something we planted when we first moved in because the ex loves artichokes. And of course I'm not going to pull it out because it's a perfectly good plant. It's beautiful. It's amazing. And usually I just cut off the artichokes and give them to friends who don't mind at all, since then they don't have to buy them themselves. But this beauty takes up a lot of space. And it's got some bug issues at the bottom, but it is doing very well this year. Much better than it was doing last year. It has been liking the rainy weather a lot, more than some of my other plants. Yeah, that's the artichoke. And of course, Harley making a cameo. What you doing, Harley face? Yes, you're a purr. Yeah, you're not interested. Ugh, the weeds around here, killing me. Interesting thing I wanted to show you that I noticed yesterday. Where'd it go? There it is. These are the onions that I split off from my onions that I harvested last year and that sprouted. And they have been growing big and beautiful, and I picked the bulbs that were about to flower off the ends of half and left some with flower spots. But these couple have decided to make cute little baby offshoots. So it's really interesting. I don't know how these are going to turn out at all, and I don't know, I could pull them at any time for spring onions. I've pulled a couple that are, the stalks are kind of dying back and then the bulbs are just fine. So they're very tasty, but it's very interesting to see what's going on with these onions that I actually expected not to do anything, but are doing all sorts of interesting things and taking up half of my garden space. Ah, onions, yum, but ah. Another thing I'm noticing with some of these onions that I have separated out, a couple of the stalks, and these are mostly the ones that have some of them are the ones that are pulled, that are about to flower on the end, are turning very brown and splotchy. And I don't know what that is about. The rest of them look really good, so I don't know if there's some that I've missed watering, that haven't gotten enough water, not enough nutrients. But those just aren't looking pretty. Not sure why. Can't explain it. This is actually an area where I pulled a couple, so maybe there's something else going on here. But yeah, that's an interesting look. Not as pretty as the rest of my onions are, but we'll see what happens with them. You see here, this is in another bed, and this is one of the onions I pulled the blossom off the top. But as you can see, it has more of those black spots and it's turning all weird and spotty. And last year was really the first year I successfully grew onions. So I have no idea what this is. Could be too much water, too much nutrients, not enough water, not enough nutrients. Could be too hot right here. Even though today's beautiful, it has been pretty sunny for this time of the year. So I guess I'm gonna have to do some research on this to try and figure that problem out. One of the most important things about gardening, I think, is doing research and trying to figure out all these little things that come up that you've never been faced with before. See, here's another one. And this could just be kind of emblematic of the whole bug problem that we're having because of all that rain we had earlier. Things are evening out now, but there are still definitely some lasting effects. On a side note, apparently when one pulls weeds, one should be slightly more careful than I just was. I don't know if you can see that, but I have a giant slice in my pinky. Can you see? Maybe. And Spot is telling me how he feels about everything. And it's time to go inside. On the plus side, this is the third batch of strawberries picked today. This tiny little fence is doing an excellent job of keeping the chickens out. Not so much the slugs, but we're trying Sluggo for that. So that is good news. Now we just gotta eat them all. Would you look at that? The first pumpkin coming up behind the house. I planted this one in an old circle that's full of gravel, so maybe the chickens wouldn't scratch it so much. And indeed, this one at least is surviving. Yes! First pumpkins out of the ground. Now they just need to grow fast, so all these weeds don't come on back. Yeah. Ooh, and look at that rose bush. There we go. Oh, that's a good thing to find behind the house. Oh, let's go look at the rest. We'll see if the chickens have managed to murder them all. They've been scratching a lot. Yeah, nothing there at all. Ooh, here's another pumpkin. Oh, I gotta pull those weeds. Look, it's another pumpkin. Yay, pumpkin. This one is a Cinderella pumpkin. Oh, sorry, shouldn't sing that. Sure there's some copyright thing. Never mind. This one, I'm pretty Tater, you're kind of in the way. Oh, thank you. This one either a chicken or a cat may well have gotten. Tater, you're just terrible. Oh my gosh, look at this thing. I was just collecting eggs. No, you can't have the eggs, baby. I'll give you a chin rubbing though. There we go. Oh, you're terrible, you purr. Just terrible. Come on. These are little strawberries I put up, and these I started from seed inside. I've never started strawberries from seeds. These are Alexandria from Baker Creek. and they are looking pretty good. This little fence thing, remarkably helpful. I need to get more apparently, or just build some with some chicken wire and such. Here, no pumpkin as yet. Let's see, over here, this is a Howden pumpkin, but it is not a pumpkin yet. The chickens were scratching a lot over here. This one they pulled the tag up more than once, so I'll be surprised if there's actually a pumpkin gonna grow there. We'll see. This thing, however, you're so funny, Tater Tot. You're just funny. Alright, I was walking back here, so I thought I'd give you a quick update on what's going on in the back of the house. And just like that, Mount Hood peeps out from behind the would-be rain clouds that gave no rain. The donkeys are down for their evening snack of weeds and grasses from the garden. As you can see, they like to help try and keep the edges clean. And it's time for me to say thank you so much for joining me. I hope that you enjoyed seeing a little bit about what's going on in the garden. Hello, you big kisser face. Yes, Tazaroo. And I hope that you will come back again so that we can do some more growing and talking to donkeys together.